Below is a practical, end-to-end migration guide for moving an ASP .NET Core MVC application with SQL Server to Microsoft Azure. I'll keep it concrete and production-oriented, based on common real-world setups. First, choose the target Azure architecture. For a typical ASP .NET Core MVC app, the recommended baseline includes Azure App Service for hosting, Azure SQL Database for managed SQL Server, and optionally Azure Storage, Key Vault, and Application Insights. Alternative advanced options like Azure Kubernetes Service or Azure VM are only suitable if you already use containers or have legacy constraints. For most MVC apps, App Service plus Azure SQL is the best choice. Next, prepare the ASP .NET Core application. Ensure environment-based configuration using appsettings.json and appsettings, production.json, and never hardcode connection strings. Verify database access via EF Core or ADO.NET, and enable HTTPS and production logging, as Azure App Service forces HTTPS by default. Third, migrate your SQL Server database to Azure SQL. The recommended option is Azure Data Migration Assistant, a free tool that helps you assess, fix, and migrate your database. Alternatively, you can use EF Core migrations if your schema is fully controlled by EF by running .NET EF Database Update after Azure SQL is created. Fourth, create your Azure SQL database through the Azure portal. You'll create a logical SQL server and a SQL database, configuring its pricing tier and firewall rules to allow Azure services and your IP. An example connection string includes server, catalog, user ID, password, and encryption settings, with a default connection timeout of 30 seconds. Fifth, deploy your ASP.NET Core app to Azure App Service. Create the app service, selecting .NET 7 or 8 runtime and publishing as code. Configure connection strings in the Azure portal under App Service configuration, where Azure injects them as environment variables. You can publish directly from Visual Studio or use GitHub Actions for CI/CD. Sixth, secure secrets with Azure Key Vault. Create a Key Vault, store sensitive information like SQL passwords, and enable managed identity for your app service to grant it access. Reference secrets using the Key Vault URI in your app service settings. Seventh, configure networking and security. Ensure HTTPS only, a locked SQL firewall, and consider advanced options like private endpoints or VNet integration. Eighth, enable monitoring and diagnostics with Application Insights. This tracks requests, exceptions, and SQL dependencies, providing live metrics for production debugging. Finally, validate post-migration. Check that your app starts, the database connection works, migrations are applied, and authentication functions correctly. Common pitfalls include using local DB, hard-coded paths, or Windows authentication. Address these by switching to Azure SQL, using iWebHost environment, or SQL authentication. This comprehensive guide provides a solid foundation for migrating your ASP.NET Core MVC application to Microsoft Azure, ensuring a smooth and production-ready deployment.